Hello and welcome to another episode of Tech Journey Insights with me, Beverly Clarke, and co-host.
Rebecca Franks.
And we are delighted to talk to you and share with you our journeys in tech and the insights that we have gained along the way. So let's dive right in today and talk about our learning this week. Rebecca, what are you learning?
So at the moment, I have been learning how to do Amazon KDP marketing, which is a very big learning curve. Any kind of marketing is a learning curve because as if you're trying to grow a business, you can't necessarily afford to pay someone to help you, so you have to try and learn these things yourself. But it's like this perpetual cycle of learn. But
Mm.
yeah, so I've watched probably like many hours of YouTube videos on 2 times speed because that's where I always watch YouTube videos on two
That's a
times
tip.
speed.
That's a tip.
Yeah. So I've watched lots and lots of YouTube videos, and the thing with YouTube videos is they are really helpful, quite a lot of them, but you don't know, you never quite know if it's true what they're saying or if it works or what works for them. Is that going to work for me? And it's really hard. But I've kind of come to by looking at all of them, I've come to the conclusion that I need 4 ad campaigns. One of the ad campaigns is to advertise on a specific product. The other one is through manual keywords that I've picked out myself. And then
Mhm.
another one is an automatic keyword one that Amazon's come up with. And then my fourth one is the winning keyword. So any sale that you do, if whatever that keyword, it goes into the winning keyword campaign, and then hopefully you'll get to a point where you've got this winning keyword campaign that will start earning you more money. So, and this was like what I got to from looking at lots of different ones. That seemed to be the way to go. So I started it on Monday. It is now Friday. We've had 5 days and we've sold 2 books.
Oh, well
So
done. Well done.
yeah, last time I tried marketing, we set up the campaign. We barely got any. We had no impressions, no sales. Didn't even spend money because the keywords are so bad, and I really
Mm.
didn't know what I was doing. And I gave up. But this time, I'm like, "You know what? I'm gonna set some time aside. I'm gonna really focus on learning about it and just try and learn as I go along." But it is tricky. It's not
Yeah.
an easy thing to learn at all, but that is what I'm trying to learn about. I don't know if you've got any experience with that kind of thing.
I don't. Honestly, I do think marketing is the degree I should have done.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, like you, I am exploring different courses and watching videos. I've been looking at the Google Ad Grants, exploring Google Tag Manager. That's in relation to our charity, Technology Books for Children. I've got nowhere. So, I've got 2 campaigns going,
Mm,
and one of them it's to attract website traffic, and the
yeah.
other one was around funding and donations. The first one managed to spend $33 and didn't really get anything, get
Mm,
any particular traffic. And the next one, just nothing, no impressions. So
yeah.
for anyone listening to this, what I'm trying to get across is you've got some success and then also a lot of times when things just don't work. So you've
Mm,
got to refine it and go again and reflect and say, okay, what hasn't worked and what can we do to improve? So yeah, it's a challenge.
yeah.
We're going to
And
crack it one day.
yeah, there's some scare. It feels a bit scary as well because you're spending money and you're like, well, I need to see results for this money I'm spending, and it's like you kind of have
Absolutely.
to go right. I've got a budget in mind that I don't want to go over, and I'm just gonna trust the process and see what happens, rather than get so terrified every time I spend 68 pence.
Your pence convert to £5. I don't
I
know,
know.
what that return on investment is there
Yeah,
on it. But
yeah.
yeah, it's logging into your Amazon, your KDP dashboard.
Mm,
That's it's interesting because sometimes with my children's book, sometimes it's zero, and you think, right, I
mm,
need to go with this again. What's going on? And other
yeah.
times, suddenly you've sold and you've got like £18 in royalties or something, and
Mm.
it's not a great sum, but it's you're going in the right direction at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, it is a slow process. And the fact that the way we run our careers is we do lots and lots of different things.
Yes.
And I'm sure that if all we did was write books and sell them with Amazon KDP, we'd probably be doing a lot better because we would be focusing 100% of our time on that. But we don't have time. We've got so many other things that we're working on. So you just have to slowly grow each one, and like some will grow faster and some will grow slower. And that's just what we're committing to by having this kind of career where we have lots of things going on.
I think this sort of career is what's needed to move you forward, and I
Yeah.
typically call it a portfolio career. It
Yeah.
isn't just one thing, but everything does interconnect. So
Yes.
the children's book series that I've got, it's a tech themed book series. So that's the Digital Adventures of A Friendship. The
Mm.
charity that we have is also around tech and books. All
Yeah.
the work we do is in tech. So these are interconnected things,
Yeah.
but each of them does need at some point full focus. So
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
continuous. And so basically, I never switch off, and that sometimes is not
No.
good.
No. No, not at all.
So I go to the gym almost every day, apart from Saturdays, and I have a walk, and I sort of try to just empty my mind, or have a walk on the treadmill, and then sort of push
Mm.
some weights, because there's always a lot going on. And I know that you take your dog for a walk and just
Yeah.
sort of get that mind, clear your mind. So, I
Yeah.
mean, books are grabbing our attention. And one of the book reviewers in our charity, she's written this book. It's called Careers in Digital and
Ooh.
Tech. And it's really, really good. And I must say, I may be slightly biased, but I have written a little review for it, which you will
Ah,
find in the
okay.
book. But it's from education to employment, and it gives lots of excellent case studies and examples of jobs that people can do. And yeah, I would say get onto Amazon and have a look at it. I like the way it's also illustrated too. There's bits about leadership, different loads of different roles and summaries, career paths. There's quite a lot in there, and it's nice. It's almost pocket size, but definitely
Mm.
big handbag size, and you can take it out with you, or your rucksack,
Yeah.
not necessarily a handbag. And it's recommended. So thanks, Christina, for writing that and getting that out
Mm.
there. So another person working in the world of tech
Yeah.
and doing great stuff. So in the world of tech, we've always got big stories about layoffs in tech and what's going
Mm.
on. And Amazon were in the news last week about ordering, apparently, that was the language in the press, their workers back to work. So not remote working, you need to be in the office. But then
Mm.
as I dug into this, there are lots of companies who are doing this and saying
Yeah.
you must be in the office. And I just wonder what you thought about that.
So obviously I've set up my own company with my wonderful co-founders, all remote. We live in different areas of England, so we couldn't possibly have an office. We have to work remotely. So I think for some jobs there is really no reason at all to have an office. For other
Mm,
jobs, you need a space to do things. So it depends on the actual career. I think when your job doesn't need you to be in a physical office, I feel like the only reason you would be getting people to come back to an office is because of real estate that you own and that kind of thing, and having empty offices in cities and things like that, which it's a big problem. Like we've got to figure out, well, if there are all these empty offices in cities and then people aren't going and spending
mm.
their money on lunch and things like that, what can we do to help those economies and those communities so that they don't lose money rather than force people to travel 2 hours to a job,
You
you
see, there's
know?
a lot going on here, a lot to
Yeah.
unpack. So
Yeah.
it could be a social side to it, bringing your
Mm.
staff together, team building and bonding.
Yeah.
There could also be the other element that if people are working 2 hours away, I mean, I'm closer to the countryside and not in London, then
Mm.
I'm spending money more locally. So I'm going to go to my local supermarket or coffee shop as
Yeah.
opposed to one in London. So maybe the money's being distributed in a different way.
Yeah.
But I was recently down in Horsham in
Mm.
West Sussex, and I went into the Horsham Museum, as you do, just
Mm.
a small, museum, and there was a Victorian exhibition, and just one of the exhibits talked about the whole idea of the office, and that in Victorian times people worked at home, And as people started getting more money, offices were seen as prestige. So look at
Yeah.
my office. I've got all of this money. I've got this big, shiny office. So are offices necessarily, are they really bringing us together, or is it a display of wealth? And it was just
Yeah.
a take on it. It's
Yeah.
always just stayed with me. What is this? You've got big places like Canary Wharf, and you've got a great big shiny buildings, and everything is excellent when you go up there. It's a great
Yeah.
experience. Is it needed?
No, probably not. And I think that's it. And I do get it. Like I've been to some posh offices in
Oh,
London,
yes.
and like you walk in and you're like, oh, this is lovely. There's a waterfall and there's a glass lift up there. I don't want to say elevator. I'm English anyway. There's a glass lift and there's this beautiful view of the Thames and all this kind of stuff. So it is impressive when you walk
Oh,
into that
yes.
kind of environment. So you think, oh, this must be a really good company because they've got this impressive view and they can afford this impressive building. So there is like a status symbol to it, I guess, to that side of it too. So and it's tricky, isn't it? Like I don't know. I mean, I'm not in a multi-million pound business. Maybe if I had a multi-million pound business, I'd think differently. I don't know.
Mm.
But
I don't know,
yeah.
but whoever's listening, let us know your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Are these big real estate investments, are they needed? Why
Mm,
do companies have these big offices? Let us know your thoughts. And if you're just
mm.
joining us, you are listening to the Tech Journey Insights podcast with me, Beverly Clarke, and my co-host.
Rebecca Franks.
And we are on YouTube, Spotify, and on social media. You'll find short clips on social media, particularly TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But do listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, and let us know your thoughts. Reach out. We'd love to know what you think. So
Mm,
let's continue on with something that affects almost every woman working, regardless of
mm,
whether you're working in tech or not. And that is the female issue of menopause,
mm.
perimenopause,
Yeah.
menstruation,
Yeah. Yeah.
because October is Menopause Awareness Month. And I mean, I'm at a stage I describe myself as perimenopausal,
Mm,
and it comes with lots of different issues. So, for example, I've got a lovely fan sat on my desk because of hot flushes, which could choose to come at any moment. Not right
mm,
now, but could be in 10
mm.
seconds. I have no idea.
Uh,
It does affect the way in which you lead your life. And it's always in the news, but I don't think enough is being done around this particular issue, enough conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have noticed a lot of men talking about it on TikTok recently, and I don't know. Well, I think it is good, but it's like, is it to get followers, or are they genuinely interested in it and helping women?
You might be cynical.
I don't know. I'm too cynical. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I would say that I'm probably, I don't know, either in the early stage or the middle stages of perimenopause. So my symptoms kind of come and go. I've had quite a lot of vertigo issues and
Mm,
ear issues and that kind of thing. Things with diet and what I eat and all that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of things that were symptoms of
mm,
perimenopause that I can, if I went down all of them, it would probably be tick 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 on pretty much every one of them. But I have been trying. So Tracy, one of my co-founders of Flip Computing, she did a lot of research. If you've ever met Tracy, she has to
uh-huh.
research absolutely everything. So she did a lot of research into this time of life and what we should do to help ourselves. And she really looked into diet. And I really didn't listen to her for about a year. She kept going on and on and on about things like eat lots of nuts and stuff. And I was like, I was terrified to eat nuts because everyone tells you nuts are really fattening. Don't eat loads of nuts. You can only have a handful a day. Yeah, this is the thing. It's just like, so I was like, I'm not going to do this. But what I did is I switched my packet of crisps that used to be my little pick me up at 10 o'clock. I
Fruit,
switched,
Rebecca, fruit.
I know. I switched that for nuts. And I just did that for a month and I lost 4 pounds. So I was, yeah, great. I was eating more calories, but somehow I lost weight. I think probably because when you eat nuts, you feel you don't feel fuller. It's like you don't get as hungry. It's like it's really strange. You don't get
It's a
that
release.
craving. Yeah, yeah.
It releases the sugar differently into,
I
and it,
think that's
yeah.
it. So instead of when I had nuts in the morning, I didn't get an afternoon slump. So that's the, even though it's like quite a long time between it, I didn't get it. So I was like, I don't understand why the science of it, but for some reason it worked. So then I was like, okay, maybe Tracy does know what she's talking about. So then she said, right, focus on protein, having lots of protein and less carbs and switching things out. So I've done that and I've lost more weight doing that. But on top of that, I feel so much better, like the brain fog
Oh, yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
gone. So it could be helping with perimenopause. I think it's something to do with seeds and testosterone or something like that. I think it helps like
Mm.
regulate testosterone when you eat that kind of food and berries and stuff. So it might be that, or it might just be I'm having less processed food. So I'm feeling better. And that it could be two things. It could be one or the
Mm.
other. I don't know. But it's something you have to investigate. Like if you're going through these symptoms, you've just got to try something and like try and sort of forget the rules of what we're told in like Slimming World and Weight Watchers and all these sort of myths about food that we're told growing up as
Mm.
women. You get all these like you can't eat this and you can't eat that. And just listen to your body a bit more.
Eat
Try
everything in moderation.
exactly. Try different things and just see what works. Just sort of give it a bit of time and see if it works. And it is working so far. We'll see if it carries on working, but I
No,
I don't know.
it's hormones. Hormones
Mm,
wreak havoc on the body.
yeah,
I mean, I've also got a thyroid problem. I've got Graves' thyroid disease. It's all hormonal chaos at times.
yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it just sort of strikes at 3 and I'm wide awake. And then I need to go back to sleep at 6 a.m., which isn't conducive to working. So,
Yeah.
I start my days a bit later, say at 10 a.m. or something. So just so
Mm,
I can sort of cushion myself. There is a book that from BCS, the Charter Institute of IT, for IT, and there is a chapter in it where it talks about supporting female employees, perhaps not having your 8 a.m. breakfast meeting, but having
mm,
meetings a bit later. So, just for that very reason, if a
yeah.
woman has been struggling, say, with the hot flushes and waking up at night, you don't need to add that pressure to that member of staff. And that's just a small, reasonable adjustment that can help. And I mean,
Mm,
thankfully, I'm self employed, so I have been able to build that into my life without affecting my clients, or it doesn't disrupt anyone, as it's a small adjustment that's needed. I've also found in the morning I'll have some berries with a bit of cereal, and at
yeah.
mid morning, just a small bit of fruit like a banana. I also have an afternoon snack of some yogurt with a bit of granola or honey, and just
Mm,
really having these small meals throughout the day regulates my blood sugars, exercise as part of
mm.
a balanced lifestyle, and it does help, but it's a challenging time in life. So
Well, that's it. Yeah, you're constantly fighting against a thing. So something will work for a while, and then it won't work anymore, or you got to
yeah.
change it slightly, and that's it. And you're constantly fighting over this balance of hormones and how do I sort of regulate this and get this to a nice sweet spot? And then it's just like you get there and it's like, all right, now I've got to change it again because this isn't working
But it's,
anymore.
it's it's on a hormonal cycle. So I know with the
Yeah.
thyroid, every 6 to 8 weeks, it's a different cycle. So it must be the
Mm,
same for our female hormones. It's
yeah.
just that you just never know where you are.
No,
It's
no.
chaotic. But I
Yeah.
know we discussed this in the last series and we're discussing it again now, but it's not a topic that's going to go away. So
No,
it is relevant all of the time. And
definitely.
it just brings me on to something else, talking about women in tech. And so many women are founders and start their own businesses. For example, I'm in the Theopafite Small Business Sunday group, which
Mm,
I won in relation to my children's book series. And in there, most of the people with their businesses are women.
yeah.
So women are quite entrepreneurial, I'd say. So there was an article in BBC News last week, I think it was, about women in tech cannot work on inspiration alone. Because
Mm,
frequently get it, you're so inspiring. Thank you. Glad to inspire others. But we need funding. For example, look how with charity you apply for grant after grant, and
mm,
it's rejection after rejection. So you do have to develop a lot of resilience there. But
mm.
there's a lot of we need more women in tech, we need this, we need that. there is a lack of funding, and it doesn't come to female funders.
No.
It's so difficult out there. And I did love the article title, "We Cannot Live on Inspiration Alone." So that's just a little note to anyone who's listening. Always open for sponsorship and donations to our charity. It's, get in touch. It's much
Yeah.
needed.
It is that whole inspirational alone thing, isn't it? Because a lot of women in STEM or coding things, they always just focus only on role models. So
Yes.
look at these role model posters that you can put up in your classroom or whatever. And I think they're great. Like, we do need role models, like they are really important, but that shouldn't be the only thing that people do. Like,
Mm.
there's way more stuff that you can do to support women in technology that isn't just sticking a poster up or a social media post or something like celebrate this woman from whenever. Like, they're great, but they feel performative if there isn't something behind it where you are
100%.
genuinely supporting and changing things. We do a lot of work into trying to change curriculums and making
Mhm.
sure that they are inclusive. And that isn't just stick a load of role models into your curriculum. That is just the bare minimum. Like, if that should
Mm.
just happen anyway. But you really have to deeply look at curriculums and see, you can, if you look at them really carefully, you can see why women aren't engaging with
Mm.
these curriculums, and there's a lot of work to do in that space. But that's one part of the journey. There's so many situations that women are excluded from the technology space. Like, it just keeps happening over and over again. There was that picture, I don't know, about a month ago, of this tech conference of the women models that had lampshades on their heads.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And it's just like, are we really still doing this? Like,
We are, apparently.
what is going on? So, like, at every point of a woman's journey, from the first time they go to primary school in reception, all the way to a career, if you even make it to a career,
Mm.
you are being excluded from
It's
that
hard.
work.
It is
Yeah.
a challenge, and you've got to get up every day and go again.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's perhaps the biggest piece of advice I can share with anyone is have your network, and you just have to keep going again.
Mm.
Reevaluate. You've got to keep reevaluating as you go along,
Yep.
but keep going again.
Mm.
Don't let it drag you down. I mean, you're
Mm.
human. There are going to be some days where you feel, is this all worth it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But alongside that, I'd also say, and my other tip would be to upskill and to stay current.
Mm.
Ensure that you have got the skills and the knowledge that
Mm.
is needed to succeed at
Yeah.
whichever point that you're at, because nothing's just going to happen just by chance. You've got to work at it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you've got to work at it 10 times harder. But yeah, keep working at it. And there are some amazing people out there who will support you. And
Yeah.
that when you find them, you feel a lot better. Like, you're
Keep them
still,
close.
yeah, exactly. You're still working hard, but you're surrounded by people who support you, and that's what you want.
Yeah, my networks are invaluable, and I
Mm.
always go on about your personal network.
Yeah.
Very, very important. And
Mm.
also develop the skill of advocating and speaking up for
Mm.
yourself
Yeah.
and putting yourself forward. You've got to be in it to win it, whatever it is. So,
Yeah.
if you want to get promoted, you've got to put yourself forward. No one is just going to just come to you. That would
Mm.
be very rare. Put
Yeah.
yourself forward. Ask for feedback.
Mm.
You've got to push yourself out there. I mean, those would be my tips for success, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's quite challenging. Well, as we're chatting, I want to go back to the previous conversation we were having around food and lifestyle. So
Mm.
there was also another article with Tesco is a big supermarket here in the UK.
Yeah, I've seen
And I've
this
seen a few
one.
Tesco stores abroad also. I'm sure I've seen a few. And we've got a Tesco club card, a loyalty card. And there's a
Mm.
bit of controversy. It appeared on Good Morning Britain that the club card can track what you buy, which is great.
Mm. Yeah.
But apparently, it could be used as a way to say, well, you've bought too many crisps this week, and perhaps that's not good for your health.
Yeah.
Is that sort of club card watching you, sort of big brother watching you, or is
Yeah.
that a good thing? If I've bought too much alcohol, for example, to say for birthdays and Christmas parties and things that are coming up, I don't necessarily need to be told that perhaps I should consider my drinking habits. That wouldn't be helpful. So at what point, I mean, I guess the algorithms will be tracking what you're doing, but is that what we signed up to when we decided we were getting a few points and from a club card to then get, say, a pound or so off of something else later on down the line?
I just want to know, what are they getting from it? Because obviously crisps, and this is the thing with crisps and nuts, right? Nuts are a lot more expensive than crisps. So is that to make you buy the healthier stuff, which is more expensive? Like, because there's no other reason for me, for like a big company like Tesco, to tell me to buy more healthy stuff. Like,
Let's go. I want you to get in touch with us and talk to us
yeah,
about
yeah.
this.
I mean, yeah, I'm the same. Like, I shop at Tesco as well, and I use the club card as well, and I like the being able to get my Alton Towers tickets and things like that with my
I love
points
it.
and stuff. Yeah, I love that side of it. I really don't need to be told if I'm eating the right or wrong foods. I can figure out. I can obviously figure that out myself. And it is just sort of like, I just feel like it's just another way for them to make money somehow. I don't know, or to meet some target or whatever it is. It never sits right with me. And the thing that annoys me about data at the moment is the fact that before, if you were giving your data to a company, it was because you were the product, and you kind of accepted, right? I'm getting this for free because I'm giving you my data, which was a little bit wrong in itself, but you kind of accepted it. But
Mm-hmm.
now we're getting to a point where you're giving away all your data and you have to pay for it. And the services aren't really getting better. Like, all the different sort of streaming services that I use are getting your data all the time. They keep updating the terms and conditions. What are they actually putting in these terms and conditions? And the service isn't getting much better. The quality of the TV, well, the films or the TV programs aren't getting better. In fact, actually, I feel like the quality is getting worse. I'm getting a lot of, I don't know if you're getting this, but are you getting this where the faces turn, like the whole picture turns green? I see, I'm getting that. Like, every, I don't know, 60 seconds, it goes green.
Is that
Like,
not your telly?
I don't know, it's not the telly, it's to do with the streaming service. And I don't know
Oh,
if something weird's going wrong. Like, are they just not, are they on a budget with how much data
mm.
they're sending me at once, and like the error checking and all that kind of stuff? What is going on? So I'm paying for this, you're stealing all my data, and I'm not even getting a great service. And
I
it's
think
just
you need to
really
tweet them
slow.
or something and ask what's going on here. I mean, I
Yeah,
would say, I mean, it's loads of loyalty schemes, and Tesco does have a good loyalty scheme. I like saving up my points, and
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I guess it's how it's used. I mean, this is where data science comes in.
yeah.
And there's loads of great people out there who are going to be involved in data science and psychology behind the scenes. And this is
Mm,
what a career in tech could possibly look like
yeah,
for sort of young people coming up, young boys and girls. This is what they need to be thinking about, which is our inspiration piece and sort of sparking the imagination. Consider thinking about the age in which we live in and how our data is going to be used. Not quite
yeah.
sure about a streaming service and why the screen is green. The only time
No.
my telly went green, it was blowing up, and it did then
Oh
eventually.
no, I don't need, it definitely isn't the TV, it's the streaming. But it's just like, honestly, but I feel like it's happening with everything now. Like,
Mm,
nothing works. And it's like the adverts have come back, and like, if you don't want adverts, you got to pay another
great.
two,
Yes,
£3.
yes.
It's just like everything is getting worse. Nothing's getting better. What is getting better? I feel like I need to sit in that question for a second.
What
I
is
mean,
getting better?
we've got this technology where we can communicate online, which is great. Video conferencing
Access.
technology. Yeah.
Access.
Access, yeah, maybe.
So I tell you what's got better. I mean, it comes with its own downside. So I'm going to go back a long time ago to when I was a young woman. I just started working. I was working in Kingston upon Thames, and the banks were only open for a very short period of time, say 9 until 3. And then I
Mm,
remember when Saturday banking came in, it was, oh, I can go to the bank on a Saturday to pay in a check or something.
yeah.
Now I can literally sit here with my phone and do everything at home.
Mm.
So I would say banking has got better.
Yeah, it probably has in a way, as long as you've got the digital skills to use those tools and you've got your access to a broadband or whatever it is that you need to do it. So there's
Well, yes.
that's the downside, isn't it? But it
So we've
is,
got
yes.
skills, yeah.
Mm,
Skills, we've got access. These are really important things that keep coming up, which is why previously we just mentioned you've got to keep your skills up to date.
yeah, yeah.
I did feel sorry for my parents last night. They were struggling with a technical problem, which was
Mm,
they were sent a document which they then had to download,
mm,
fill it in, sign it, scan
yeah.
it in, and send it back. It had taken them all afternoon when they called in
Mm,
desperation at 7 p.m.
yeah.
to get help. Now, I live about 3 hours away, so it got fixed, solved, but this digital exclusion that does happen to older people,
And what if you haven't got a printer?
well, you're stuffed.
Well, this is the thing, like, but because there are this, and this is the thing, there's no sort of one way of doing this because I've signed with DocuSign and things like that electronically. So you can just do that on your phone, you can read everything carefully, and then you can just sign with your finger, which then you don't need a printer. But then I've had other situations where I have had to print it out and then scan it in. Like that's another piece of technology that I
Well,
need in my
yeah.
house all the time, just in case I have to do that one thing. That's pretty much what I use my printer for. Like, I don't think I really use it printing off like tickets with the QR code because I'm still
Well,
just have them on my phone. I'm so bad.
I'm scared to have them just on my phone because if
Yeah,
something's going to go wrong, or do you
yeah,
add it into your wallet? And my poor
yeah.
parents, they got terminology mixed up. They kept talking about DocuSign. So in the end,
Mm,
I said, flip your camera around and show me what you have on your screen. So that in itself was another learning curve to flip this camera around. It was
mm,
nothing to do with DocuSign, but they
right.
obviously could encounter DocuSign before. So
Mm,
there's a lot coming at people these
yeah,
days.
yeah.
So skills are
Mm,
very, very important at all ages across
mm,
society. Very,
yeah,
very important.
yeah.
And it's an ongoing challenge to ensure everyone has got the skills and the equipment they need to succeed. I'm just mindful we've been chatting for a while now, and there's loads more that we can talk about. For example, I'm just going to squeeze one more in today because you've got teenage children.
I do, yes.
And we've got Meta and Instagram with teen accounts. What is your take on that?
So I think we're kind of, you see, my kids have already got accounts on things, so I don't know if it's going to change for them. Like, do they have to switch to a teen account if they've got an account? Will it automatically switch it? Because they've got their correct
No.
date of birth in, well, roughly correct. I think it is. It's not like they've lied about their age or anything like that on there. So perhaps it'll switch to a teen account. I don't know.
Will it switch or will it only be for new joiners?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it's still
But
parental responsibility.
yeah, yeah. Well, this is it. So how does it work? The teen account?
I have no idea. I just seen the headlines. I delved into it and I was none the wiser because I thought surely this doesn't actually solve the problem.
Well, no, and it's all about well, like with everything, it's all about education and communication, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
that's the only way you're going to learn to use these tools safely and responsibly is by education and communication. You've got to just keep banging that drum of talking about it and learning how to deal with negative experiences and what you do when you have one and like keeping an eye on your mental health when you're using these apps, all those sort of things about being responsible users. I found like through my whole like my children have grown up, they had tablets very, very young, and I've been very involved with at the right level, talking to them at the right time about certain things and keeping an eye on what they're doing and that kind of stuff. And I think that that has really helped them grow up to be quite responsible users. I'm not saying they'll always have a perfect experience
Oh no,
because
no.
nobody ever does. But I feel like they're quite prepared for it because I have had that conversation all the way through from a very young age. And that's a lot of work. And you have to know what to talk about. So as a parent, you have to be skilled in knowing what to look for and knowing what to say and all that kind of stuff. So it's training for parents and carers and then spending that time looking at it as well. So I
Mm,
think there are people that completely are rejecting technology, which is
mm.
one way of doing it. I'm all for it's a,
We're
if
all for
you're
tech.
the parent, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for tech, but I'm all for if a parent chooses to do that, that's fine
Mhm,
if that's what they want to do. But what worries me in that scenario is that you don't have technology at all, like, and
mm.
then you never learn how to use it properly. And then when you go out into the big wide world and you've suddenly got it,
And it is a world of tech.
yeah,
You
then
still have,
it,
yeah.
yeah, then you have that because when you're 18, your brain is still evolving.
Mm,
You're still a child, really, even though like legally you're classed as an adult.
mm.
Like you can get yourselves into a lot of tricky situations on social media as an
Well, this
18
is
year
it.
old.
It's
Yeah,
all about safe and responsible use and
yeah.
online safety and cybersecurity. So we do
Hmm.
need exposure to it. And I do think the sweet spot perhaps lies somewhere between tech companies taking responsibility,
Mm, yeah.
parents having that knowledge and
Mm,
gaining skills. Then there's the whole education system, but there is somewhere there is a sweet spot where
mm,
we can take full advantage of tech
yeah.
for all of our collective benefits, really. I'm just interested to see how this will play out. I know there are a few new acts and bills coming into play in the coming
Mm,
years. So it will be interesting to see what does actually happen. Now, we've had a great conversation today. We've shared tips, we've explored topical issues. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us today. I hope you've enjoyed listening to us. Love you to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on tech and your tech journeys, whether you're a parent who's slightly technophobic or you're
mm.
somebody who's really into tech. What are your thoughts? Reach out and let us know. And hopefully, you've taken away a few nuggets which can help you in your life or your career or both. So, you can get in touch with us on LinkedIn or across social media channels. I have been Beverly Clarke. My co host is,
Rebecca Franks. Yeah.
and we will see you again for another episode very soon. Thanks.
See you soon.